Welcome to Spark Sessions. I'm your host, Sonya Locke, and this girl is on fire. Today's guest is living proof that it's never too late to step into your power. Kirsten Guest is a clinical holistic psychotherapist, resilience advocate, and the founder of a boutique practice that helps high-achieving women learn to reclaim their truth. After spending 23 years as a stay-at-home mom, she went back to school in her 40s, then set up her own practice here in New York City, wrote a book called Setting Up Boundaries, and is now pioneering the use of ketamine-assisted psychotherapy for trauma healing. Her approach isn't quick fix therapy, it's deep healing, mind, body, and spirit. And she's here to remind us that joy is not a reward for getting everything right. It's a right we reclaim when we stop abandoning ourselves. Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to talk to you and learn more on your healing and your journey. I think our listeners are just going to be so enamored by everything you've done and accomplished. And I want to say congratulations and cheers. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm very excited to unpack. I mean, Kirsten, you have such a varied life, and I cannot wait to hear all about it. But let's start with your original spark. I mean, like what? And I think you had a quest, like all these sparks throughout your life that brought you to where you are today. So tell me a little bit about where you grew up and going back to school. I mean, like that's a hard path. Oh my gosh.
Yes. So I was born and raised in California. And I was raised, my mother and her mother. My grandmother was a huge influence. I like to say that she was a pioneer in holistic health because, you know, when everyone was doing like the Swanson dinners, she was perusing the health food stores, which were far and few between. So growing up with that. And then I grew up in the San Joaquin Valley. And that is, I think it's the largest food grower in the country. Wow. So I grew up going to the farmers markets, and she taught me how to pick out wonderful produce. And so it was that from a very early age.
Yeah. And then you were a stay-at-home mom for 23 years. So tell me about, like, I guess, what compelled you to branch out and go back to school. I mean, that was brave. That was really brave doing that.
Yes. So after 23 years, like you said, stay-at-home mom, my children were getting older, and I always knew I wanted a third act.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, I took a criminal psych class, and I was hooked. So it's kind of like in the back of my mind, I thought, you know, one day I really want to be a psychotherapist. And it just kind of planted a seed. But, you know, those 23 years, I was taking care of a family. And then 23 years later, it just came back. And I thought, I really want to do this. And can I do it? You know, can I go and do the graduate training?
Yeah. So tell me what the difference is with a psychotherapist. And especially you're a holistic psychotherapist. So what? How did your studies teach you?
I am classically trained, I guess you could say, in psychotherapy. So that's Freud and all the way up and all the new modalities. And then when I was going back to school, the whole gut-brain connection was coming on the scene. And then it got my wheels turning because I had already, you know, had this love of food and holistic food and herbs. And so I was like, wow. And that's how the whole thing started because really no one was doing that.
Yeah. I mean, but it's very true when we talk about our whole self. That's why I say is your journey, you treat not just the mind, but the spirit and the body and everything. So I assume your upbringing in California and all that natural foods really helped you find that path.
It really did. And, you know, when I was raising my children, I was always seeking learning about organic food and what to eat and what not to eat and what makes you feel good and things like this.
And then
so,
what brought you to New York?
oh
Is this the
gosh.
first, is this where you started your practice? Was in New York or?
No, actually, I was in the South for a little and I started my practice there, but I have been a part-time New Yorker for about 25 years. And I knew one day I wanted to be here full time. So about 4 years ago, I just made it happen and I love it.
So you seem like the type of person that just kind of grabs life by whatever is like right in front of you, and you just say, okay, I'm going to do it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to have this wonderful picture from the newspaper, and there was a big flood like in the Midwest, and these people were on top of their roof, and the water was coming, and it said in sandbags, "Fearless." And it's like, that's my mantra. I put that on my refrigerator, you know.
That's great. And I bet that coming to New York, you have a lot of patients that you can probably see. It's a very hustle and bustle city. And I know you kind of
Yes.
really also specialize with a lot of high achieving women and things like that. So tell me a little bit about, I guess, how you found your particular niche in psychotherapy, and then also, I guess, with ketamine-assisted psychotherapy and trauma.
Yes.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, in my training, you really have to get to know yourself. And I'm an only child, and I always knew like I was type A and very driven. But then I started seeing clients, and I would see the commonalities, right? What is it about these type A women? They're driven, they're successful. Okay, there's these beautiful parts, but then with the perfectionist,
Yeah.
what happens? And there's imposter syndrome and being mean to yourself and all these things. So that really spurred me on to start working with these women because they have these beautiful qualities, but then they have, and me included, we have these problematic pieces that stop us from, going higher and higher because of the imposter syndrome, the doubt, that mean person in you that's just doing this,
Yeah.
that negative self-talk. And so that's how I started creating my, my practice and how I, provide the care.
And you wrote a book too, right?
Yes.
With setting up boundaries. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I realized that a lot of people, these personality types, and a lot of people even without the type A, they are people pleasers. They don't know what a boundary is. And I started seeing again patterns. When you're a people pleaser, when you don't have boundaries, you don't take care of yourself. You don't use your voice. We know that when you don't use your voice and you stuff, the body keeps the score. Things start to break down. All of a sudden you have ailments, you have pains. The doctors don't know what's wrong. You're depressed, you're anxious. You have no idea why.
Yeah.
It's because you're a people pleaser. You're doing things that you really don't want to do, but you feel you have to, and you neglect yourself.
Yes, for sure. And I know we've had a Reiki master on before and things like that, talking about energy work and kind of unblocking some of those channels. And, I'm sure you do some of that as well with the psychotherapy, and especially with your practice in particular and setting up these modalities, right?
I absolutely do. I incorporate Reiki, and I design, each of my clients, we're all individuals. So I designed a different program for everyone. So sometimes I will use Reiki, EMDR for trauma, yoga. I design yoga practices for people.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes we'll do it in my office. And yeah, it's like the mind, body, spirit. Sky's the limit.
And tell me, what is EDMR is again?
Oh, EDMR. So it's EMDR, excuse me.
Sorry.
So it's okay. It's a bilateral stimulation. And so there's different ways to do it, but a lot of times you'll follow my finger. I like to use the butterfly hug, so you have both hands like this and you're tapping one side, two side. And in that, you're reaching both sides of the brain. And then that's how you go back and you recreate the memory and you change the narrative of your trauma.
Wow, that's really fascinating. I mean, like, I didn't realize that you had so many different parts of your practice. And that's where I say it's very holistic in terms of so many parts of the person. And when you talk about imposter syndrome, I mean, I think that the statistics is 75% of high achieving women have imposter syndrome. I think it's 100%. I mean, it comes up in every single episode we have without it being part of the conversation. It's just, it is. It's like that perfectionism and that stress that we push on ourselves. Yeah.
It's absolutely true. I mean, I've had it where I'm like, no, you really are doing this. You know, you are doing this. Sometimes you feel like a little kid, you know, playing dress up. So,
feeling like you don't belong, but you actually do. And doubting yourself. And like I said, going through all of those challenges to get to where you are today. I mean, that's a lot of bravery and stuff.
Oh, thank you.
And so tell me about with the ketamine assisted. I mean, you're on the forefront of that. And we've heard a lot about it with having that as a therapy for like especially severe trauma. How did you, I guess, start practicing that and how did you find it?
Oh gosh. So during COVID, I wanted to have some extra training. We have to have continued education. And I came across a psychedelic course and it was intense. And it not only taught me about ketamine, but all of the psychedelics. Ayahuasca, ibogaine, mushroom, psilocybin. And I loved it, but people were doing it underground. And I thought, well, I don't want to do that. And then just a couple of years ago, psychotherapists now are able to do it in office and remote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the client brings the ketamine into the space and then they take the journey and I'm with them. And it's marvelous.
Is it? Like, what is it in block that's different than traditional modalities?
Yeah, it's a great question. Okay, I don't want to get too technical, but what it does is it shuts down your go-to thought. So like the front here, your everyday talk to yourself. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, my life is this way, like your mental prison. So it quiets that. And if you can imagine, it opens up like a flower blooming. So you're able to have different thoughts, different perspectives, different ways of looking at things.
So it sounds like you're always kind of trying different things, but you're always a natural healer, I guess, to begin with, right? But when did you realize that, when did your passion meet your purpose, would you say, in your life?
I think when I realized that I could really help people and I saw tremendous change, and I saw tremendous change in people that I've had people not have a breakthrough for a year, but I see it. And I thought, if you can change after a year and think that you can't and show up every week and nothing, then all of a sudden something. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, for you to go on this journey, moving and opening up all these places, I mean, it must have been a very strong fire within inside you you knew what your calling was, right? Of being able to guide people to reconnect with themselves and I guess find peace and happiness.
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I teach people how to do that. And a lot of people don't think it's possible, but it is. I mean, I've done it. And I always tell my clients, I've been on this journey.
Yeah, and that was kind of my next thing is I'm sure your journey was not an easy one. So like how we get through the burns and the challenges, I think it's another thing that's so important for our listeners, because a lot of times somebody just wants to hear someone else has been through the same thing or has gone through it and it's okay, right? It becomes their experience.
Exactly. And being a therapist, I have to ask, may I self-disclose? And so I always tell my clients, I'm going to ask you periodically, may I self-disclose? And it's never about me, this is about you. But if I think I can share something about my life that's going to help you, I would like your permission to do so. And I do, I try to share.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, like let's talk about the burn. You've reinvented yourself. You've gone through lots of challenges. You've picked up and moved, and now you're helping thousands of people. I mean, you have such a thriving practice helping people and stuff. What are some of the burns that you got through in your life that you feel has helped define who you are and helps you as a therapist to help others?
Well, I think, we said earlier, after being married 23 years, staying at home, raising children, I was like in this bubble. And then wanting to become a psychotherapist and getting out there and, learning how to do an APA paper again and, really having that discipline.
Yeah, that had to be a huge challenge. I mean, I can't imagine going back to school now. I can't imagine going back to school like 10, 15 years ago. It's like it's a different mindset and, it's very brave and everything.
Thank you. It really was a journey, but I think I was so ready for it and I was so excited for it and I wanted it. So I think that's what drove me to keep going.
Yeah, for sure. And so you said you like to self-disclose to your clients. How does that help in therapy? Or I guess with some of you've written multiple books, right? The other one was the 3-step process.
Yes.
What was the 3-step process dealing with trauma and dealing with, I guess, moving forward?
Yeah, so the 3-step process is, my theory is that we are not going to make permanent change unless our brain believes why we should. So if you don't give yourself a reason, a concrete truth, your brain doesn't believe you. So what's a good example? You can say, oh, I'm going to start, exercising every day. It feels good. Okay, and the brain goes, okay, we'll try this. And then a couple weeks later, you're not exercising anymore because you didn't give your brain enough evidence on why it's important that you do it. All right, that's just one example. But what I do is I teach people any behavioral change you want to make, you are fully capable of doing it with the 3-step process. It's teaching your brain how to believe you, giving it concrete evidence.
So what's the 3 steps?
Okay, number 1, you're down the rabbit hole, right? You're having the ruminating thought, whatever it is. Like let's say you're a worrier. Okay, you're worrying, you're down the rabbit hole, and then you get into awareness and you catch yourself. And then step 2 is the change statement. I want to be worry-free. And then the third part, that's the most important part, that's the evidence piece. So your brain says, yeah, you want to be worry-free. Why? You have all these things. And you say no, because when I worry, it breaks down my body. It breaks down my body in these ways. It makes my life unhappy. It makes my life unhappy in these ways, like that. And you get into the concrete truths. And it's not a quick fix because that's your homeostasis. Right? That you don't want to change no matter what, even if it's bad. Like the battered wife syndrome is an example. But pretty soon, over time and practice, your brain goes, oh, you're right. And I have seen miraculous change with that.
That is. So can that be applied to something like the imposter syndrome?
Absolutely.
So how have you, or how can you tell someone how to, I guess, get out of that feeling of unworthiness? And trick your brain back into understanding you're worthy.
Exactly. So what it is I have you write down all your truths, who you are, what you do, how you got here, everything. And that's how you start. So you're down the rabbit hole. I'm an imposter. I'm no good at this, whatever your brain is saying. I don't have to be. I'm not an imposter. And then you go back to all your evidence. This is what I've done. And a lot of people, I think for all of us, when we're living this life, we're in it. You're in it. Oh, I did that. Oh, I did that. But if you, zoom out and you're able to look, right, you can see, oh, wow, I did that. No, I'm not an imposter.
Right. So just
Yeah.
reaffirming, who you are and what you actually have done. I think one of our guests one time said that, trying to get through that is that they should, keep a list of everything you've accomplished, almost like a scrapbook. It'd be like, there I go, like, and patting yourself on the back. So it's kind of similar to that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still, or how do you handle burnout yourself?
That's a
And
great
you're giving
question.
to a lot of people. I'm sure that takes a lot from you,
It does. So a lot of self-care, and that includes, everything. It's like I practice what I preach. So I try to eat clean, exercise, I use herbs and adaptogens, positive self-talk. I have that matriarch too that gets in there and, so it's like watching my internal dialogue, getting a lot of sleep, knowing when to take a vacation.
Yes, I do like the power
Yeah.
of pause. I think that's extremely important. I'm not that good on the sleep part yet.
Oh, I can help you with that.
Well, let's talk about even more like the bigger traumas, like because I'm really fascinated. I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, but ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. There's ketamine's on the news all the time, anyways, because some people use it abusively. What is the difference between as a therapeutic and how that opens it up versus someone that just does it recreationally or something like that, where it's like, why? Like, I guess what's the beauty of it?
Well, first of all, when you're doing it, I guess recreationally, it's not controlled. So you don't know the dose that's appropriate for you. You end up abusing it. So there's that. Those are, news stories we've heard that scared everyone about ketamine. Then there's the recreational use where, you're doing it, you're having a great night, and then you end up going into what everyone's heard, or a lot of people, of the K-hole. And that is when you've had too much ketamine. You're not necessarily in any danger, but it takes you, it's like if you were drinking and you had a blackout.
Oh, wow.
So there's no therapeutic involved. It's more of a good time here.
Yeah.
Right. But then when you use it therapeutically, it's dosed by your body weight. We set an intention, and then you talk about it afterwards. So you're in full awareness of what's going on. It's
And you're
very
there guiding
different.
them as a shaman, right? Like basically
Exactly.
guiding them on their journey. And how's that open people up, I guess, the ones that you have had success with that type of therapy?
It really, like I said earlier, it shuts down or quiets, your everyday self-talk. Oh,
Right.
I'm this, I'm that. A lot of times those are false narratives. So it's quieting that. And it opens you up to be able to think about other possibilities, other ways of being. And then it calms your nervous system. And then you come back after the journey, and the integration piece is key. So I'll see you after you've done the journey. And we go over what happened. How do you want to implement this? What's different? It's beautiful.
Yeah. So there you actually are going through in a much quicker way, probably getting rid of some people's self-doubts and their traumas and stuff that they can't let go of to move on. So
Exactly. And there's evidence-based research that after one treatment of ketamine, people who have like suicidal thoughts, we call it suicidal ideation, gone.
really, wow, that's
Yeah,
fascinating.
I know
Because
it.
that's like it's especially with the youth. I mean, like I said, my kids are, in their 20s and going through high school. I mean, it was definitely an epidemic you could see. They had known so many lives that got touched by that, and it's like trying to find. It's a depression that is not just a quick fix that you're going to get rid of somebody that has those idolations. So that's amazing. One therapy can actually solve that.
Can help that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
And
fascinating. I think you've given us a couple of different truths or ideas to have. But I like the self-affirmation and the 3-step process. I think that's really good.
thank
So
you.
do you still, I guess, experience burnout in your own daily life?
I absolutely do. Not too often, maybe 1 or 2 times a year, but not to the degree. Like I always say, are you below baseline where you really need to rejuvenate, or are you just like hovering above your baseline where you're feeling burned out and you know you need to take action? So
Yeah.
sometimes I get there. I don't get below baseline anymore because I'm in awareness.
Right. I think becoming aware with yourself is extremely important and in touch with your inner self and acceptance, right?
Yes, it's
Acceptance and
key.
authenticity.
Self-acceptance.
Yes.
That's a big one.
No, that's beautiful. So I think so naturally we've talked about so many of the things. It was a part of my burning question because as I guess as a healer and a therapist, this is what you do.
Yes.
But, we've talked about being a people pleaser and that a lot of women suffer from that. And I think from that, that's where you get the burnout factor. Like 46% of women that are high achievers, burn out, right? And
gosh,
especially different
yes.
professions and stuff is very, very high. And I guess the perfectionism, right? That's another big issue that we've kind of touched on. And most women in leadership roles, most I know I'm guilty of it, have that perfectionism gene, like always pushing. So and then I think also too is like performance. Like we are performing for others, not for ourselves a lot. And I think a lot of women experience that. And then I think, 70% of women, like I said, I think it's actually 75% of high achieving women have imposter syndrome. And that's just kind of where I think all of us have it. Every single guest I've talked to has mentioned being part of the imposter syndrome at least one point. So with looking at healing these other women and like this new generation and people coming up, what do you want every woman, I guess, to ask themselves or to look at as far as that healing and to become, I guess to get out of those ruts, to get out of the people pleaser and the perfectionist and the imposter syndrome? How do we stop that? How do we start?
Oh gosh. So first of all, I want you to ask yourself, what do I want? And a lot of times I'll ask that question, what do you want? I don't know. And then I say, if you, woke up one day and you could have your life any way you wanted it, what do you see in your mind's eye? Go think about it, write it down if it doesn't come naturally right here and now, and let's come back to it, when you have those answers, and let's do it.
That's a hard one though, is what do you want?
What do you want? It's so big.
It is.
And then you can break it down. What do you want in your professional life? What do you want your personal life to look like? How do you want to feel? So it gets into the minutia. It's like, what do you want? And then we do it in pieces.
So let's talk about those pieces and like boundaries, like your book, setting up boundaries. Like, how does that help with, I guess, achieving what you really want out of life?
Oh, it's so important because once you start having a boundary in any place, you just start one place, you start to get happier. Because I always say the soul knows when you're slumming.
Yeah.
Your soul knows when you're slumming. And what does that mean? You feel it. You don't, maybe you can't identify it, but there's something off. You feel it. But once you start saying no to things and you start taking care of you, you do feel better. Right? It's so important.
What did you start saying no to, I guess?
Oh, gosh. I think I started saying no to saying yes to everything, every request, in my personal life.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you be here? Can you do this? Can you come with me here? Yes, 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 yes. And a lot of times, I want to do things with a happy heart all the time, but a lot of times I don't have the bandwidth, and I had to learn how to say no, because what I find, when we are people pleasers, when we start to say no, we feel guilty.
Right.
Why is that? Because we're not used to saying no, so we feel like we're doing something wrong. We're going to hurt the other person, or the other person is going to think poorly of us. That's another thing. And so I say, okay, you honor that. You honor these feelings. But when the guilt comes up, you ask yourself, am I doing something to purposely hurt anyone? Or am I simply trying to take care of myself?
Well, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I like that. I think that makes a big difference, is because we don't say no. I know I'm horrible with it,
Right.
but it does. It puts it on your own self. It's like we always say, is like, it's the oldest thing in the book. Put the mask on yourself first before you put it on another. It's like, how do we help ourselves? So what are some other, I guess, tips for someone that's going through this, that's going through the people pleaser or the perfectionist or the imposter syndrome? What are some other tools in your toolbox to help them, I guess, get through and still achieve what they want to achieve, but, I guess a little bit easier?
Ooh, well, first of all, I always tell people that the foundation of my work is to teach you kindness to self. You have to be kind to yourself, because if you're beating yourself up, you want to imagine it's a closed fist. Nothing can change, nothing can grow, no creativity, nothing. But if you're kind, it's like your hand opens. Oh, I want to try this, and I'm afraid, and I feel this way, and I don't know why, and that's okay. But I'm working on it. I want to change. You see how kind it's like, you go from this to this, and in that, change can happen, creativity, flow. So that's first and foremost, and then it's just trying it.
Right.
Just trying it. I'll tell people, okay, I want you to imagine you're walking to the edge of a cliff, and I want you to open up your arms and close your eyes, and I want you to fall. Just fall. And what I mean by that is just try it. Try to use your voice.
Wow.
Oh,
that's a powerful image. I can see how, very calm already.
Oh, good.
No, I think those are some great tools. I think a lot of
you.
women need that. And setting up, like I said, I love the power of pause. Don't burn yourself out. It's better to, be self-caring, I guess. So I think that leads kind of to the next part, is how, being a healer, you actually practice self-care and fuel your flames.
Ooh, yes. So a big one for me is exercise. I find that if I'm not exercising, I feel it. I feel that stuck energy. So it's exercising. That's cardio, yoga, weightlifting. That makes me feel amazing. It's hydrating for me. That's a big one. Sleep is a huge one.
So how much sleep are we supposed to get per day?
Oh gosh, what do they say? 8 hours?
Yeah.
I think some people need more and some people need less, but I always say 8 to 10,
Yeah, I
think that's great.
That's important. And I'm sure your research has probably shown you what having the right sleep levels actually means to your brain activity, right?
Oh my gosh, yes. And the hormones, right? It regulates your cortisol levels, right? Everything. Your adrenals, the melatonin. You have to remember that all these chemicals, if we're not sleeping properly, they're not working correctly. So
I didn't think about
another
that.
good reason to go night-night.
And that's also where yes. And that probably also goes into your holistic part of your therapy, correct? With the gut and mind health and how those work together. So how do you incorporate that, I guess, in your life?
Oh, well, positive self-talk for the mind health, and taking time for myself. having my quiet time, whether it's going for a walk by myself, doing a yoga class by myself, reading, sitting on the couch with a great book, just being quiet.
What's and I think we're gonna have to start a book club, or at least have a list of all of the best books. What's your favorite book, or the one you're reading right now?
Oh gosh. Okay. So there's one book that I love. I recommend it to my clients. And I actually used to buy the book and give it to my clients years ago. It's called Outrageous Openness. And the author is Tosha Silver. And she's very spiritual and kind and about taking care of yourself, and trusting in the universe. It's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. And what is trusting in the universe, I guess?
It's trusting that you're on your journey and that no matter what, everything is going to be all right. I mean, they say, well, how can you say that bad things happen? Yes, that is true, but there's always a silver lining. Like I can go back, if you look at my life on a timeline, and I'll go, oh, that sucked. Oh, that was bad. And then I say, well, if that wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have learned that, and I wouldn't have gotten here. Do you see?
Yeah.
So it's like you have to trust.
Yeah. I think it's also where your experiences are part of you, right? And so I like that. So what's a favorite affirmation that you say?
Oh my gosh. It is universe align now.
Oh, I like that. Oh. So it's kind of manifesting something good happening, right?
Yes. And if you're feeling chaotic or, having a moment, I tell my clients that. I'm like, just say, universe, align now.
Oh, I like that. It's like a command.
Thank you.
So now let's talk about, I guess my favorite part of Spark Session is passing the torch. Is, what we're leaving to the next generation or to the women behind us, building those rungs. So what does legacy mean to you, and what are you hoping yours will be?
Oh, that's a big question. My hope is that I am going to leave behind the message to be kind to yourself, be in acceptance of yourself. Because when you're able to do that, when you can be kind, be accepting of yourself, that allows you to be your authentic self, and that is where the joy is. So I'm hoping, people really do that, learn that, remember it.
And it's hard in this world because this world's got a lot of noise, right?
Oh, I know it.
Yeah. So what would you go back, if you could go back in time to, say, 20-year-old you? What would you tell her?
I would say, don't worry so much. Use your voice more and have fun. Enjoy life.
And what do you think, what do you think your kids will say about you and what you've taught them and how you've guided their life, I guess?
Oh boy, what would they say? She's a wild woman, I think they would say, Mom always taught us sky's the limit.
I think that's always the thing too, is letting them,
yeah.
And I think that's how we do pass it on to the next generation. So do you mentor anyone in your field, or some young women growing up and overcome some of those challenges?
I absolutely do. I have had a few of my clients switch careers and go into therapy.
Oh, wow.
And it's been wonderful to see, and out of left field.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's really powerful. You must have changed them tremendously.
Yeah, I really try.
What's the most important part, you think, in passing it forward to the next generation?
I think just the awareness that it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have humility. It's okay to be vulnerable. That's so strong. Just show up as you.
And what about high achieving women? I would definitely say that every generation, I think, gets more and more ambitious and, able to take on the world. What would you tell that young, anxious girl that's ready to, start something new? how can she still be kind and not worry and have self-love and still achieve everything that she wants?
I would say go for it, create balance, know that you want to fuel yourself, at the very least, nourish yourself, pace yourself, because so many people think they have to grind it out and kill themselves to succeed. And really, that's not true, because you end up with the burnout. You end up getting sick. I've had clients who have become chronically ill because of that, just not taking care, grinding it out. But if you have a balance, if you take care of yourself, even having, balance in the workplace, boundaries in the workplace, you're going to go to the top because you're taking care of yourself and you're letting people know that, this is how I take care of myself. And that's really something to be respected.
Right.
I
think so. And I mean, I'm sure, like I said, in New York, you've got a lot of very ambitious and beautiful young women that probably come to your practice, but and fearful that they're not going to make it here. But having that, I guess, calming reassurance that the journey will happen and that you can set boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And always be unapologetically you, right?
Yes.
That's the most important.
That is key.
Okay, so the next part is just strictly fun. We call this the fire round. And it's the first thing that pops in your mind. There is no right and wrong answers. It's just all you. Okay. Morning ritual or nighttime reset?
Ooh, morning ritual. Yeah.
No, what is it?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah.
It is lemon water, warm lemon water, and now I put apple cider vinegar in it.
Oh, and then you just start your day?
I start my day.
One thing that's always in your bag?
Oh, lip gloss, a good lip gloss.
Yeah, my lips are chapped right now too. Coffee, golden milk, or green juice?
All of the above.
Favorite scent to ground you?
Ooh, Palo Santo.
Love. Oh, gosh. Have you been to the restaurant in Atlanta?
No.
Oh, it's called Palo Santo, and it smells like the whole restaurant. Oh, it's really lovely.
There.
Next time you're in Atlanta, you have to go.
Next time, yes.
Guilty pleasure.
Ooh, guilty pleasure. I would say laying in bed all day, binging TV. Yeah.
You do? Okay, what did you binge last?
Oh my gosh. I binged, was it 9 Perfect Strangers?
Yes.
With Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I know. I have so many of those Saturday or Sunday afternoons where I just get into something and I'll just watch the whole thing.
Aren't they the best? And I have clients say, oh, I'm so guilty when I do that. I say, no, that resets your nervous system. That's rejuvenating you. So,
oh, well, good. Now I've got an excuse to do it. Yes. I know, because that's another one where you feel guilty. It's like you ended the day, it's like, oh, I had so much I had to do today.
Right. And that now you can say, no, but I'm calming my nervous system. I'm resetting myself. And
say my therapist told me to do it. I'm perfectly allowed to.
Yeah.
One thing women should stop apologizing for.
Oh, my gosh. Being themselves.
Yeah, that's another part we didn't really go on, but that was another thing, was like 78% of high achieving women receive negative performance reviews, and it's all personality based because they're misunderstood, right? Like, if you're ambitious, then you're called bad words and things like that. But yeah, being yourself.
Being yourself.
And what's your sparkle in one word? Ooh. Or your superpower?
My superpower. Oh, gosh. Empathy.
That's a good one. We all need a little bit of empathy. Okay, last question I ask everybody that comes to Spark Session is, Kirsten, what is your spark? The one truth that carries you forward every day, every season?
For me, it's asking myself the question, how do I want to feel today?
That's a powerful question. I like that. Yeah. I like that. Because who's going to answer it like I want to feel horrible today, right?
I want to feel bad. I want to be anxious. I want to worry,
Oh, that's a great one to carry you through. I have loved talking to you so much. Thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank
you. No, I feel like I've had a good therapy session. I'm all nice and calm, and you're such a giving person. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Spark Sessions. Until next time, keep the fire burning.